Welcome in everybody to our YouTube channel here at Fantasy Pros. I am Lauren Carpenter. And if you guys want a chance to win a signed Tyreek Hill Miami Dolphins jersey, now's your chance. All you have to do, it's super easy, is subscribe to our YouTube channel here at Fantasy Pros and comment on this video. That's it. That's all you need to do, courtesy of our friends over at Pristine Auction. We're going to be announcing the winner on this channel, so make sure your notifications are turned on so you get alerted every time there's a new episode, and then you don't miss out on your chance to claim your prize. But in this video today, we are going to start talking about draft strategies. That's right. And I have a very fun one lined up for you. It is the very infamous zero RB draft strategies. That's right. I'm going to tell you the best players to target if you are going to use this strategy in your upcoming drafts. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right in. Our very first player that we're going to take in round one is going to be Jamar Chase. Now, Cooper Kupp and Justin Jefferson are most likely going to be off the board, but that leaves Jamar Chase ripe for the taking. He and Joe Burrow had an explosive season last year, took them all the way to the Super Bowl, and there is absolutely nothing standing in their way of repeating that performance unless they're going to have some kind of crazy Super Bowl hangover. Who knows? But he did finish the season as the wide receiver 4, and he was the 18th overall best player in fantasy football, and he is going to be our #1 pick off the board for our zero RB strategy. Now, the best part about this is that because we are not drafting a running back until the 6th round, that means we are going to load up our roster early with those studs that we would normally want to punt the position on. For example, tight end and also quarterback. We're going to go ahead and go early on those because we're waiting on our running backs. So let's go ahead and jump right into our next pick, which is going to be Mark Andrews, who finished as the tight end 1 for the Baltimore Ravens. I love Mark Andrews, and his ceiling is non-existent, right? Sky's the limit for him. I know that Lamar Jackson is, that dual threat, mostly running, rushing quarterback, which we love in fantasy football. But Marquise Brown, better known as Hollywood Brown, is no longer there. He is with the Arizona Cardinals now, and he shockingly vacates 140 targets. That's a lot. And so what else do they have? They have Mark Andrews, and they also have Rashad Bateman. So here at our second pick, we're going to go with the tight end, Mark Andrews. So now we're going to go to round 3. And again, we want to fill up our early rounds with those studs, and we're going to focus on the wide receiver position. And for this one, I chose A.J. Brown from the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, in case you didn't know, he was traded during the 2022 NFL Draft to the Eagles from the Tennessee Titans. Now, Jalen Hurts is another one of those quarterbacks who is known for his legs as opposed to his prolific passing. However, I wonder how much of that was out of necessity due to mediocre pass catching from his surrounding offense. Having someone like A.J. Brown on the field should help spread some defenses around for not only Devonta Smith and Dallas Goedert, but for A.J. Brown. So I love him here as our wide receiver 2 that we have, in addition to Jamar Chase and Mark Andrews. So far, so good. I really like how this roster is shaping up so far. And again, remember, we're still waiting on the running back position. We're not even going to touch that until the 6th round. So now I'm going quarterback. Now, since we have tight end Mark Andrews, let's go ahead and snag Lamar Jackson and do that Baltimore Ravens stack between Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews. And I love this stack. And the reason I love this stack is because it's one of those that we can almost guarantee that should be surefire. We don't have Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams anymore. We don't have Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill anymore. Those things were our go-tos. And unfortunately, those don't exist this season. But one thing I do like is stacking Lamar Jackson, his rushing ability, his need to pass, and Mark Andrews being there to absorb some, maybe most of those 140 vacated targets in addition to Rashad Bateman. So we have one pick left in round 5 before we even start looking at our running backs. And in round 5, shockingly enough, Jerry Jeudy, wide receiver for the Denver Broncos, is still available, and I am going to take him. He is a target for me with their new quarterback in Russell Wilson. Now, Courtland Sutton is also an excellent snag here as well, but I've noticed he's been starting to go a little bit early. If he is available, either of those 2 wide receivers should do really nicely, rounding out those early picks in our zero RB strategy, but I'm going to go ahead and go with Jerry Jeudy. He's going to have the opportunity here way better than he's had with Drew Lock or Teddy Bridgewater. And they will still have a rush game between our friends Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams. However, I still think Jerry Jeudy has some tremendous upside. So he's going to round out our wide receiver 3 if you are playing in a 3 wide receiver type league, or he can be a spot start or flex opportunity if you are in a 2 wide receiver set. Now, let's get to the fun part. Round 6. This is when we are going to start targeting our running backs. And very first one that I'm taking here, and one I suggest you take a close look at, is A.J. Dillon. He is the RB2 for the Green Bay Packers. And as I mentioned earlier, there is no longer any Davante Adams on that team, which leaves a lot of opportunity here. However, they lost a lot more people besides Davante Adams. They also lost Equanimeous St. Brown and Marquez Valdez-Scantling. So this suggests to me that there may be a need to rely a little more heavily on the run game than what we have seen from the Packers in the past. And also, Aaron Jones is a great pass catcher. So is he going to start absorbing a little bit more or a significantly more amount of those targets moving forward? Possibly, which leaves the opportunity for A.J. Dillon. And Dillon has also proven that he can get it done in the run game. In fact, he finished, I believe, as the running back 1 when Aaron Jones was out. So he can get it done. He may play that more traditional running back role to the pass-catching Aaron Jones. Now let's move on to round 7, and this is going to be Damien Harris from the New England Patriots. He was quietly sneaky good. He finished just outside of that RB1 tier as the RB13 in half PPR scoring. He actually outrushed Ramondre Stevenson 202 times to Stevenson's 133, and he actually had the second most carries inside the 10-yard line, and that's second only to Jonathan Taylor. So he quietly had a really good season, and I don't really see a pathway for a ton of regression when it comes to Damien Harris and this offense as Mac Jones continues to grow and, grow in this offense, get a little bit better. But they are going to be relying on the run game, and that guy is Damien Harris, and I love having him locked in as our RB2. And in round 8, let's go to one of the players that I am probably the most excited about for this season, and that is the Miami Dolphins' new running back, Chase Edmonds. Now, Chase Edmonds is formerly of the Arizona Cardinals. He has excellent pass-catching chops, but what makes this so exciting for me is their new head coach in Mike McDaniel. Now, McDaniel is single-handedly responsible for Deebo Samuel becoming the Deebo Samuel, basically running back that we saw for the San Francisco 49ers. So if you combine that with what we know of Chase Edmonds already, he is a great pass catcher and he's already a running back. There could be a possibility here for Chase Edmonds to become a Deebo Samuel light, if you will. So I'm very excited about his opportunity, as well as getting him in the 8th round as our RB3 all day long. I'll take it. All right, we're moving in to round 9. I do see one running back that I am very interested in that I want to keep my eye on, and that is the rookie James Cook, who was recently drafted to the Buffalo Bills. I generally have a rule of thumb. This is to stay away from the Buffalo Bills. However, their current run game is mediocre and anemic, and they have basically left the door cracked, if not kind of wide open, for James Cook to come in and possibly take over as the lead back. So as an additional running back that we have here on our squad, kind of taking up that flex RB4 position, either on our bench or who we're going to start, spot start, James Cook is someone that I am very interested in, and if we can snag him in the 9th round, that is who I am targeting as our final running back that is going to be a rotating member of my starting core. Now remember, the whole purpose of utilizing the 0 RB draft strategy is to take that early draft capital and use it on stud wide receivers, a high-end quarterback, and a high-end tight end. A lot of people really like to wait on the quarterback position, which isn't awful either, but in this particular strategy, doing that will shoot yourself in the foot. The whole purpose of the 0 RB is to make sure you fill up early rounds with those studs, and then you don't have to worry, let's say if, oh gosh forbid, Derrick Henry or Christian McCaffrey or someone like that gets hurt, because you have a solid core of high-end RB2s that you're going to be able to rotate in and out of your roster. We're still giving away a signed Tyreek Hill jersey, courtesy of our friends over at Pristine Auction. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you just like the video for me and comment. That's all you have to do. Turn on those notifications because because we're announcing the winner on our channel, and you're not going to want to miss out on the opportunity to claim your prize. Also, follow us on social media at FantasyPros, and until next time, comment so you can get your jersey.
Thanks for tuning in to the Fantasy Pros YouTube channel. Don't forget to check out our featured videos. And while you're at it, make sure to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at FantasyPros, so you can get the latest news and updates to give you the edge you need in your fantasy league.